My name's Andrew Roberts. I've been on many treks and climbed a number of mountains, and one thing that I've learned, running a business is very, very similar to climbing a mountain. Let me explain. This information was taught to me by Krill Price from Accelerate Global, and I know of the impact it will have on your business. When you climb a mountain, a lot of people think that their goal is to actually get to the top of the mountain, but it's actually not. Your goal is to get back down. So what I'm going to show you today is why it's so important to start with your endpoint and how to actually bring it back to where you're at with your business today. There's 3 underlying stages in growing a business through to the exit points. Now, to get through those 3 stages, there's 8 really simple steps. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about those 3 stages, and I'm going to come back and take you through the 8 steps. So the 3 stages in growing a business are income, profit, value. When you first start out in a business, you're at the income level or the income stage. Now what the income stage means, your goal is to make an income that matches what you could get in the marketplace. So for example, if you're an accounting company and you can go and work for someone else and get $60,000, at the income stage, your goal is to replace that revenue in your business. Now, when you kickstart in this business, the customer is not buying your brand, they're not buying your team because you don't have a team, they're actually buying you. And it's really important to understand that you're actually selling you. And that's what's going to get you to that first stage of business, which is covering what you could make somewhere else. See, a lot of companies, when they first start out, spend all this money on branding and they put ads in papers, which is trying to get the name of their company out there, but it just doesn't work. You can spend tens of thousands of dollars on this, but you have to understand that the customer's interested in buying from you. And it's all about one-to-one sales, and it's slow and it takes some time to get off the ground. But when you do get to a point, you can move to the next stage, which is the profit level. At the profit level, you're making enough revenue to cover your wage. And this is where we need to start leveraging, because there's only so many hours in a day and there's only so much work that you can do. So you start to employ some team members to help you out. Now by doing this, your goal is to not only cover your revenue, but to start making a profit. And you need to understand that you move from selling yourself to selling your team. You move from exploring every opportunity to start becoming maybe a little bit selective with some opportunities and start really looking at how can we get some sales people out there to start bringing in revenue and additional profits to our business. So your goal in the profit level is to maximize the profitability of your particular company. What is the model that's going to allow me to have maximum profit? And when you've achieved that and you've looked at the maximum output that you can get out of your business, this is when it's important for us to move into the value stage. So now we're at the value stage, and this is a really, really exciting point in your business, because this is where you start moving to selling brand. This is where customers start buying you because you've got a name out there. And it's amazing, people are attracted and they start buying the brand instead of buying you or your team. And the beauty of this is where we can maximize the value of your company, getting it ready for exit. See, at the value stage, you don't actually necessarily need to be there because you've gone through succession planning. You have this almost like a living organism that's growing without you. And it's attracting opportunities. In fact, at the value stage, you're screening most opportunities, and a lot of businesses are growing through the value stage by actually acquiring other companies. But this is where you put your hat on and you start looking for those big companies that might be able to come in and buy you out. As we travel along the 3 stages, the income, the profit, and the value, it's important to understand there's actually 8 steps that moves us along this training ground. Now, I'm going to use this example of running a business and compare it to climbing a mountain, because there's a lot of similarities. Because the first thing you need to do when you run your business, and the very, very first stage, is you need to set a vision. You need to get clarity on what your end point is. You need to start with the end in mind. And if you can do that, if you can get clarity on, well, what is the end picture? What is it that I'm trying to create here? And what's my exit point? What's my finish point? What's the bottom of the mountain for me? If you can do that at the start, it makes it really, really easy for you to step it back to where you're standing today. Now, step 2 is our training or apprenticeship stage. And what generally happens, we set this amazing vision for our business and we go off and we start it on our entrepreneurial journey and we get slammed. We don't know what hits us. It's an extraordinary journey being an entrepreneur, and there is so much to learn. You have to consider, the new skills you have to pick up as an entrepreneur. You have to be a marketing and sales expert. You've got to be a production expert. You've got to learn HR, human resource knowledge. You've got to learn skills around finance, reading budgets. You have to learn to be a CEO, how to lead and direct a company. It's really, really confusing, and it's an amazing amount of information going through your head. So the next stage after you've set the vision is your apprenticeship. Now, a lot of people don't realise that the apprenticeship can take anywhere from 2 to 5 years. And some people during that apprenticeship stage, don't give themselves the space to allow this whole amazing product or service or offering or vision to unravel. And this is where you have to understand the importance of investing into your education. You see, most people, when they start out in business, have not been to a university to learn how to run a company. Because if you're an accountant or a lawyer, you have to go through 5 to 10 years of learning in order to enter that field. But when you become a business owner, there's no rules at all that hold you accountable to ensure that you do a degree or an apprenticeship to learn the trade. So you've got to actually figure it out yourself. And so the apprenticeship level, in my opinion, is probably the longest stage that you will take on this 8-cycle journey. And this is where you'll learn everything about how to run a successful business. The next step is we move to base camp of the mountain. Now, this is the level we've been toing and froing. We've been in our apprenticeship. We've been trying to figure things out. We're trying to get our head around everything. And we've finally starting to get into the swing of it. We've finally learned some new skills. And guess what? We haven't even started climbing the mountain yet. So base camp is when we start getting clear on the effort that's in front of us, what's prepared, or what it's going to take to get us up that mountain and back down again. That's what we need to figure out at base camp. We now have to tackle the mountain. And this is where we move into the next stage, which is the hard yards. And as you know, for those that have climbed a mountain before, it's hard going. You're walking up this mountain and you never know when you're going to hit the top, and you're always asking the question, gosh, is this it? Are we there yet? And the whole thing about when you hit the hard yards, sometimes you're going to have to stop for a while and actually go back down to base camp and have a breather. And a lot of business owners get stuck in the hard yards. They get stuck on the side of the mountain, going up, having to stop for a while and have a breather, coming back down, resting, going back up, stopping for a while. But this is a really challenging time in your business career because it's vital that you push forward to the top of the mountain. Now, during the hard yards, we're starting to move towards the next stage, which is foundation. Because as you're pushing hard, you're experimenting. You're trying new things. You're looking at different ideas to market your business. You're now looking to grow the company. You're putting that team on. You've stepped away from selling yourself. You're into the profit zone. You're looking for what's the best model that I can implement to maximize this business, to get the highest or the most amount of profit. And the foundation level is a fantastic place because you start thinking like an entrepreneur and you start looking at putting a model in place and putting a team in place to run that model for you. And this is what's going to launch you to the top of that mountain. And that's exactly what foundation stage does, cracking the model. And then once you've got the model right, we go to the last stage to the top, which is expansion. And at the expansion zone, it's all systems go. Profit starts coming over really quickly. You're still really engaged in the business, but it's a really exciting place to be. In fact, when a business hits this place, you'll find that you will actually generate more money in the space of a year than all of your other years combined if you follow this process correctly. It's really exciting. It's like, wow, all this hard work you put in. Now, for a lot of businesses, this is 10 years. The first 6 stages is a 10-year process. But you're up there, you're at the top of the mountain, you've got this amazing business that's pumping. And you can enjoy it while it lasts, because you have to remember now, you've got to get back down. And in business, the way to get back down is to actually remove yourself out of the company. Because entrepreneurs, if you take the traits of a successful entrepreneur, they create things. They're fantastic at starting something new and seeing it through to fruition. And now's your opportunity. You've built this thing up. Now's your opportunity to leverage yourself back out again. And so the next stage on the business journey or the entrepreneur's journey is succession. And at the succession stage, this is where we need to train what's called second tier management. This is where think of it like a mini you. How can I get someone to replace me? How can I start getting this business that it can operate on systems and function without me? And at the succession stage, what you're doing is you're removing yourself out so it becomes highly attractive to a potential buyer. So here we are. We've got second tier manager in. We're at the last stage of our entrepreneur journey. We're at the exit stage. Now, you have to understand that there's 3 key things an investor or someone will buy when they're looking to purchase a company. Number 1, strong financials. Number 2, an excellent database. And number 3, second tier management. And you've got all those 3 things in place. Now, what a lot of business owners fail to understand that if you can get your profitability of your company above approximately $400,000 to $500,000 per year, so that's profit, $400,000 to $500,000 per year, and you can introduce second tier management, the possibility or the opportunity for you to actually sell your business to a larger company for 5 to 6 times multiple, that's, for example, $500,000, the ability to sell it for $2.5 million to a larger company is really achievable. And there's many different things you need to learn in order to do this, but there's a lot of businesses out there that grow by acquisition and a lot of big companies that are looking for good sized businesses that fit into their mix, that they will come in and actually buy you out. And it's a really exciting place to be, and this is the celebration phase. You've finished off and you've closed off your entrepreneur journey. So in summary, you have to remember the 3 major stages on your business journey. So we move from the income stage, selling you, to the profit stage, selling your team, to the value stage where we sell the brand. And there's 8 steps or 8 smaller stages that will take you through that. And the first step, or the first stage being vision, you have to ask yourself, how big is the mountain that I want to climb? Or in other words, how big of a business do I want to build? Because you can choose to build an Everest if you'd like to, or you may choose the little mountain out the back, and it doesn't matter. The choice is yours. And I have a fantastic template below in the resource section that will really help you get clarity on just what you'd like to do, what you'd like to create, how big you'd like to take your business. And by filling this out, it will give you enormous clarity for your entrepreneur journey.